there's going to be some waking up. It's profound. The divine feminists come back. So, all right. So my little story here. You have questions?
I do. I have all kinds of questions.
So questions.
Okay.
Questions.
First of all,
I'm going to get me some water.
First of all, I love everything you're saying, and I just resonate with it so strongly. And you're right. People are being faced to receive, and there's so much resistance in so many ways. Like domestic violence has risen within these past few weeks.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's instead of people getting to know each other or really allowing themselves to fall in love again, there's that hard resistance right now. And so there's this huge struggle. And there's just
so we'll just take a moment. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to watch the news. And
right.
I have deep and profound compassion.
Yes.
Let's you and I and whoever's listening to us send grace. Grace, there's a universal law of grace that mitigates karma and to calm the people down. Those are folks that are chosen the low road. They don't realize that there's a universal law of infinite possibilities of choice. And we have to make the high road choice and set out a strong enough vibration that they go in entrainment with us, even if it means next lifetime.
Right.
So we have to, that becomes a God job. It's not ours. Our job is what you and I are doing right now and the people that we're reaching. We have to have faith in the divine, and eventually, sooner or later, people will wake up and understand their extensions of the divine and give themselves compassion for missing this major opportunity. But I'm here to tell you, a billion people will take the opportunity. Not take, will receive.
Receive. Yeah.
Now, there was a thing that I want to talk about that goes along that goes along with what you're saying. If I make a connection with someone, if I go into a relationship with someone and the source is not part of it, then it's an ego-based relationship. So remember this triangle?
Right.
So you and I, Sophia and I, Susan, the S girls here, we have a connection, but we don't have our connection by ourselves. We have a Trinity, and the Trinity is with the divine. So there is a connection from her heart, from our hearts, our throats, our third chakra, our crown, our second chakra first, and 5 above and 5 below. So I just demonstrated. I am that connected to the goddess Sophia, both the goddess Sophia and the living incarnate goddess Sophia. We're connected. And in that connection, there is a holy trinity between us with the divine. So from the very beginning, my relationship with this goddess Sophia has always been a God-based experience. Now, if it was ego only, there would be a limit and there would be conflict or jealousy or competition or miscommunication or something. So if I were to fall in love with someone and I give them energy to the person, and it's that honeymoon period. It can last from a few minutes to maybe a couple years, depending on how much life force energy you have. You're giving, because giving is better than receiving. And the other person is giving also back to you. And what happens is when I get to a point where I've lost enough life force energy that I'm depleted and I start to pull my energy back, the other person will perceive it as I'm stealing their energy and conflict. And then there's a fight on energy. And the fight happens and the honeymoon's over. And whoever wins this fight, because it's a win-lose, win being right, left being lose. It becomes a win-lose situation. The person that loses is the one that lost the energy. The one that feels like they won got the energy. If the relationship was originally created as a divine-based, as a soul-based experience, where the soul and the divine were part of the Trinity, then you can maintain the love between the relationship and you won't have the fighting. If it became an ego-based relationship and there's no divinity in it, then there's going to be conflict.
That makes me think that people need to go and find that divinity within themselves first.
Absolutely.
And that's what people are so afraid of, it seems like.
Absolutely. It's going freaking within.
And, right.
And part of it is we've got so much darkness within that we're not processing. We have toxic, uh, ego-based stuff that permeate our cells, our chakras, from this lifetime and many others. We don't realize, we don't know how to handle our inner hell. It's one of the reasons why it's important to have broadcasts like we're doing, and doing shadow work and inner work to free up the shadow and not have judgment that looked really demonic or that looked really satanic, and oh my God, that's an aspect of myself. We're afraid that we're so ugly, so unlovable, so unbearable that people would kill us, or we would kill ourselves. We judge it. So we're afraid of this darkness that we have, and we have to confront it. I like being parts of groups because we can process together, and we go, yeah, I did that one. You're on it. Go. So, it's like what we're doing. And we're doing a couple or a community, a sisterhood.
Right. Well, and this goes out to men also, because we all feel this. I know a lot of people, myself included, there was a lot I always blame myself for, and I know it's so easy to say, well, she did that, or my parents didn't love me because I did something, or, they did that because I'm bad, or, or parents when you're little saying you're bad, and they chastise you, and they teach you so early, not to love yourself.
And plus, if we have a not Hindu, that too, probably. If we have a Christian, Muslim, Jewish background, we're born in sin. We're already evil. We don't get a chance. And from the very beginning.
But then you can't build a strong relationship with anyone. And this cycle perpetuates
until we wake up.
And now we're all being faced to say, hey, this isn't working.
Right.
Who am I? How do we heal ourselves without feeling like we have to fix it? How do we allow ourselves to receive the divinity?
It starts with a glimmer of light within. It's the Mayans, from my shamanic training, and it's what I teach my students, is my thoughts, my beliefs and concepts, my thinking creates my reality. What I believe to be true is what I create. And it's a universal law of, it's not thinking, it's one of the universal laws that as I think of, so I become. That phrase is in there. It's critical. It's the first step to freeing yourself from the bondage of the illusion of our current reality. Is what I think, I create. The second one is I'm 100% responsible for my reality. It doesn't matter if I've been incested as a newborn. It doesn't matter if I lose a leg. It doesn't matter if I have cancer. It doesn't matter if I lose $500,000 in the stock markets. I am 100% responsible for my reality. And the third thing that the Mayans teach is as above, so below, as within, so without. So there is a universal law called responsibility, and there is a universal law called the law of quality. And its primary principle is the principle of correspondence: as above, so below, as within, so without, and as within, so without, as without, so within. So if we can grab those three things, it gives us the courage, it gives us the life vest, it gives us the floaty thing in the middle of the ocean as we navigate our inner shadow. Now, my teacher, Dennis Adams, he's my I met him 20, 30 years ago. He's my one that helped me, that I based his teaching, that created my work, called The Quickening, Accelerated Conscious Evolution. He taught that you do not judge. So to change it from a negative, I would say use discernment. Stay in present time and don't take things personally. So you have to be at a place where I am free of that that's my fault. So judging means that I have a thought and an emotion that something's right or wrong. So if I see, I have a slide in several of my PowerPoints on this part where you see the from behind, you see a little girl and she's holding a wing. She's in a Catholic uniform and she's got blood going down the inside of her leg. And you see this old man in a cane walking away with the suggestion that the child had just been raped. Okay, so if I judge that, so, whoever's watching this, let me move the energy. So whoever's watching that, I'm deliberately triggering judgment, and I'm bringing disassociated aspects of fractured parts of self home. I'm doing shadow processing. I'm facilitating doing their inner work and bringing parts they've thrown away of themselves, and to get to a point to look at that picture with discernment, not take it personally, don't judge it, stay in present time. And it frees us to be able to be conscious. Now my teeth are burning. So that would be, don't judge it. I would use discernment and not get emotionally involved in whatever I'm witnessing. That's why I don't want to turn the news on, because it's challenging just to maintain discernment. The second thing is present time. Now we're back to the cube again. So the cube. So my future, my past, the balance between giving and receiving, and the source and ground component. If I find the sweet spot in the cube, that's my center. And between future and past, I'm giving you the anatomy. I'm giving you the map on where present time is. It is, let me get that. It is between, in the sweet spot between past and future and past. In the sweet spot of my heart, that's where present time is. And according to Dennis, that's where the divine is. You can't find the divine unless you're in present time. If you want to have an intimate relationship with the divine, you be in the present time. So present time is not in the past and not in the future. If I see that image, it'll throw me in the past when I was incested, or when I incested someone, or I witnessed someone, or I didn't protect, whatever. I'm watching a TV show or something. It throws me to that moment, and then I relive it again, and the trauma happens again. I get more disassociated aspects, and I have more work to do. So going out of present time. The other thing that Dennis taught with present time is when I go off center, this is from the shamanic teaching, when I go off center, when I go off present time in any direction, there is a fractured part of myself that is anchored on your timeline. Okay, and it could be a matter of perspective. It could be a frozen moment of time, or it can be a vignette, and that would be a disassociated component. But there's anchored to that timeline, and according to Dennis, that's what creates the timeline in the first place. So it's all these frozen moments of time along our timeline, because time is an illusion.
Right.
So what I learned from that, or my gift that I received from that when I walked away from that, is when I bring this frozen moment of time back to me and integrate it like a hologram in my quantum field, my core hologram, then time collapses. And the goal is the whole timeline to be in present time.
Right.
And then we do the Jesus and the Buddha and the Krishna and the Dalai Lama thing, where you're doing the whole thing. Okay, so if as long as I go off of my sweet spot and I'm out of present time, I literally reinforce timeline in the past and future. So the more I stay in present time, I bring these points back. So it's really important to stay in present time. Plus, if I start in incest, because I was incested as an infant, that's why I poke that one. If I throw myself back into time when I'm a 3-month-old baby, all of a sudden there's a sense of total out of control. I'm totally dependent on whoever's holding me. I can't stop it, and I don't have the words, and I don't understand. I'm being hurt and I'm being violent. And that will throw me. I'm 64. If I go out of present time, I will become infantile and paralyzed. That's going out of present time. So instead, I come back to sweet spot. Now, the third one that Dennis talks about, so we talked about judging and we talked about present time. The third one that he talked about was taking it personally. So which is part of what you said, what you were talking about, which is what got me having this conversation. Right. If I had a jacket, taking it personally would be picking up an old jacket that is out of style and we don't wear it anymore. In fact, you need to really purge your closet and give it away. I take that old jacket. I'm 50 pounds heavier. It's not going to fit. And I put on this jacket. And I'm now taking it personally like it's happening today. Right. So whatever the event is, the world is in global reset. Right. If I judge it as right or wrong, I've already lost. I'm losing energy. Mm-hmm. It throws me out of present time for every other time in my life when I was out of control and I'm terrified. And I take it personally like it's my fault. I did it. I'm evil. That's why the whole world's falling apart. It's what little people do, which is what you were saying. Oh, it's my fault that people, or they blame me. It's my fault that my mother died in childbirth. It's my fault that my parent is beating me. It's my fault that I'm being incested or raped. It's my fault that I'm being bullied. I take it personally. It's about me. I caused this critter that is everybody's giving energy to, that we want. It's my fault that we have hell. That's taking it personally. So what Dennis is saying, don't take it personally. It's not about you. It's not I'm co-creating, and I have compassion and mercy for myself. And what I choose to put my energy is what I'm co-creating, which is consciousness and choosing high road. I'm not going to judge it as right or wrong, because then it puts me in polarity. I'm going to keep the sweet spot. Right?
Is there an easy way to keep yourself in that sweet spot? Because it's so easy to get swept up in this whole whirlwind of, everything just kind of coming at you.
Well, that's true, Sophia. However, that's where discipline and practice comes into place. We have to stay with like-minded folks. I'm on several streams, like a lot of us are. And as soon as they put something in there that I don't even have to open it, it feels negative, I delete it. I'm not giving energy to that. I'm not going to watch it. I rarely actually watch anything unless I'm guided to.
And that's okay. People need to know it's okay not to watch the news. It's okay not to.
Right. In fact, I don't remember the last time I don't think I've ever watched the news. When I used to watch, last year when I used to, see, it's been a year that I haven't watched regular TV. I've only been doing Netflix and Prime time. I would only record. I would only watch something I record so I could fast through the commercials. Mm-hmm. So I can control, and then I would mute it and fast forward it so that I wouldn't be brainwashed. Mm-hmm. and then watch the show that I wanted to watch. Now I'm watching paid stuff, and I don't have to fool with commercials at all. Or they have their funny little commercials in it where you can see the Jeep driving by, or they're drinking a certain liquor. I was like, okay, I'm good with that. I'm good with product placement. But when they're brainwashing me, telling me that there's a cancer drug that will kill me with cancer and that it's okay to take, I don't want that downloaded. I'm already dealing with mass consciousness and deleting and stuff. So I'm talking about something that takes discipline of mind. Remember what I said, that first thing. What I think, what I believe to be true is the reality I create. So I live in a basement apartment, and my daughter and her family live above me, 2 stories above me. It's a lovely apartment. It's perfect in my retirement, what I'm doing now. And we cohabitat, so I'm not by myself, and neither are these. So it's back to that, the 2008 thing that happened helped us come together, and I love it. So people's voices are coming again. Let me see. Where was I going on there? I went down a rabbit hole. Sorry.
you feel so many things. You do work galactically. I really feel, and you offer such amazing courses too. Like your boundaries course is an amazing one. And excuse me. And
now you're doing it
right. And I just
let's raise the vibration on the throat chakra just for a moment, so that people can, because the throat also controls their ability to hear and clairaudiently hear, and people are having trouble hearing the galactic level. So there, we just raised the vibration. Okay, go ahead.
Well, you offer these courses online, which people can have access to. I believe so many people would definitely benefit greatly from your classes. Even if just starting off with the boundaries class, I know the classes I've taken from you, I've expanded so much, and I've learned so much. And I have to admit, there are times when I'm just exhausted afterwards. That last class I took with you, which was so amazing, I literally fell asleep like half an hour after the class, and I slept like 13 hours. It was just like everything was just processing and integrating. And you offer such an amazing service. So I'm truly grateful. Thank you.
Let's talk to that for a moment. And I should write notes down so I don't fall down a rabbit hole. I'm going to tell a story a friend told me. And it was about a young man, a boy, that lived in Colombia. And he was so in love with spirit. He looked everywhere and all he could see was gold. He would see the gold. It's much like the movie Avatar and some of those cartoons where everything's just lit up in gold. He could see the life force in everything. He saw it in the trees, and he had gold spirit animals that would run, panthers and parrots and dragons, and he was in bliss in his glory. And then his folks decided to move, probably for financial reasons, to the States. And when he came here and he tried to connect with everyone, it caused him such pain to make that connection that he had to stop, and he doesn't speak anymore. People in this country absolutely don't know how to communicate and connect to each other. They are bereft of spirit and connection. They're so alone. And it was so shocking to this little boy that they couldn't see the gold spirit of everything around them. So when I think of like Dennis Adams and my teacher Star Fuentes, when they teach from ego, you're usually just talking out of the throat chakra. Okay, there's only that's why teachers are boring. When they only talk out of they only talk out of throat chakra. It's very boring. When a teacher starts talking out of more than one chakra, they become more and more interesting. If you have a teacher that speaks from all 7 chakras and the energy is connecting to all 7 aspects of the student, chakra to chakra, they are absolutely fascinating. The physicality is communicating, the creation is talking, the free will integration is talking, heart's talking, throat's talking, third eye's talking, crown is talking. Then to really, when you're talking to someone that's awake, I mean really awake, then there's 144 dimensions of self. The Mayans say there's 144 dimensions. There are 144 parallel universes, and each parallel universe, the individual has 144 dimensions, and each dimension has 144 frequencies. So we've got 144, 144, 144. It's the cube of reality, the human reality. So I'm going to do it right now, because I've been talking 7 chakras. Now I'm going to talk 144 dimensions. And Sophia and I, and those that can perceive it, we're not talking, my little camera, we're now talking 144 and the top ones that are above 112, it's galactic. So there's a galactic conversation. I'm starting to hum and things are happening. And then I've got 5 chakras below my feet. So I'm going to make that start talking to yours and allow those that are listening that wish and have the ability to perceive, and it makes your feet warm, and there's an anchoring and a heaviness that you might find offensive because we don't like being embodied. So right now, I'm talking soul to soul, being to being, to Sophia and those that can hear me. At 144 dimensions, this is divinity. This is my divine and my finite self communicating all at the same time. And that's what that little boy did. And when he came here, no one did it, and it almost killed him because he lost spirit. That's being separate from. So when I teach, I'm teaching from that level. I'm not just talking throat, right? And because I can feel my head's doing a thing right now. Mm-hmm. What happens is if you don't have the bandwidth, the multi-dimensional spiritual bandwidth, and the corresponding nervous system to handle it, it can be intense. And part of when we do spirit work is there's an expansion of consciousness that happens, and when you come back, you'll never be the same again. You're always bigger. And if you plus at the same time, there to be able to, like the class we taught was beginning light language class. It's a beginning Mayan sacred geometry with 7 or 8 or 9 basic shapes and 7 or 8 or 9 basic colors. So it's not just words. It's literally you were getting before you can have light. Shadow within has to be flushed up and transmuted and released, so the light so there's room to pour light in. So there's a thing going on this 144 dimension level to be able to withstand the light that you just got fed with, and part of the quickening that I teach is for every light that goes in, there's shadow that comes up that has to be processed. And when the ego is overwhelmed, spirit will put you to sleep so that you can process it without resistance. And there was a night school. The Mayans teach that it's the conscious use of the astral plane. The astral plane has lots of things that are, it's where, in my understanding, where heaven and hell are. But the Mayans use it to carve out a piece of consciousness so that we can create reality or creating destiny, so that when we do day school, it lands. Right. So there's huge amounts of night school teaching. That's why you went to sleep. You were in night school, even though you were asleep, learning about being sacred geometry. Plus you were can I talk about you?
Please. Yeah, I'm putting myself out there, so.
Okay. Yeah. That resistance piece, the worthiness piece, being less than piece, being a beautiful woman piece. You might have bought into it.
Yeah.
Invested that exquisite creative goddess energy into a lie. And you showed up as a goddess with a lot of untruths that make you less than what you really are. So there was a conflict between yourself, an inner war that you had to resolve, that you do deserve this, that you are amazing, that the beauty that's external is equal internally, that you have a right, that beauty is virtue. It's a virtuous thing. Can you imagine this world without beauty? That your gorgeous self makes this life worth living, just having someone look at you. The beauty that we are doing now, the pretties behind us, is part of the grace that God has given us. So you were doing a showing up thing and giving up being in hiding. Both of us. It's not just it's me standing in my beauty and me being exposed and letting go of the old stuff where we would be annihilated if beautiful, powerful goddesses showed up and spoke truth to men or women, it doesn't matter, and taught God. Um, and so there was a lot of shadow processing that you had to do to be able to hold the light that came in, and very well done. Um, and, and part of what would make it easier for you is not to judge it, it's right or wrong. Don't take it personally that it's your fault and you've done something wrong, and stay in present time. Don't remember the times when they cut your head off, when they burned you, when terrible thing, or you judge someone, you know, when we were harmed, or cause harm, however that is. So there's, and you can't crawl back in that shell anymore. It's just like those soft shell crabs, or like the snakes, or like the things that grow. You have to let the shell go. You can't hang on to it anymore. And these words are not just for Sophia or for me, they're for everyone. So just like I said, when I adjusted someone, the energy that I gave someone is about me. So I'm actually talking to myself. And Sophia and I are exposing ourselves to let you know that you're in good company, right? So I think I touched all the reasons why you fell asleep for 15 hours. when we set this up, when Sophia and I set this up to have this conversation, I don't remember if it was before Janina set or during the same time when Janina, my daughter, set up the boundaries class in response to what the world needed at this point. And that was 2 weeks ago. And in 2 weeks' time, 90 people showed up. Now that means that I have to have the bandwidth to hold miracles and magic. Because one of the things I do, not only do I initiate, I don't just talk. I'm like Reiki, or like divine intervention, which is a form of psychic surgeons that the Mayans do. The only way that you can be initiated is you have to be in the field of the master that's teaching. So because of the power of the internet and technology that we have now, it can hold the energy going over it. So I had to increase my bandwidth enough to go multidimensional and quantum field enough to go into their space and put them in my biosphere of consciousness. And I had to do it 90 times. And have my field, I had to get big enough to hold the field for them so that they can be initiated and download on the sacred geometry of the cube and the magic of the XYZ, which is Y, Z, X of the sacred geometry inside of a cube, to be able to download and initiate geometry in someone's field, and to be able to navigate where the sweet spot is. So I'm giving you guys a little taste of it. She's asking, how do we find the center? It's being initiated in the cube, which is, or allowing spirit to have you navigate the truth of being in the center so that you can hold space, so that you're aligned and connected to source at all times. You have to be connected to source. There goes my teeth, it's starting to burn again. Spirit, there's a different level of spirit that just came in. There is a connection that you must have with the center of the planet and our prime creator 24/7. Our chakras must be open and spinning. The 5 above, the 5 below, the 12, however you perceive it, must be open and spinning and working and connected 24/7. And so that spirit can embody us anytime we need it. We're not alone. We're never alone. We don't have to do this alone. So what Sophia was experiencing was that kind of commitment of holding space for spirit to occupy her. And if you're not used to it, then you need process time. So the point that I talked about that class, I had 90 people and my own bandwidth. I'm like so much bigger than I used to be. And still, I was up all night the night before. I couldn't sleep. I probably went to bed at 5. The class started at 2, so I had a little bit of sleep time to prepare. There's syncing that I'm doing galactically. And then the class was done at 7, and I went to sleep at 9, and then I was up at 2 in the morning again. I went to sleep, and I was down because Then now I have night school. I've got the 90 people and the 100,000 people that showed up in class last night. Now I'm doing the class again. And we had to prepare for our talk. So let's say 1 million people see what we're talking, or 1 billion people, whatever. And not just for however long, because you're going to put this on YouTube, I think. However long people will look at this in years to come, I had to hold the grid for it. I had to create the grid for it. You and I had to create the grid so that we can and communicate at this level. There was a huge weaving that had to happen. And it's why 11 wouldn't work. 1 had to do because we weren't done yet. Not yet. And to be able to hold, like you and I, and it's not, and when Spirit just showed me, this is not just humanity, it's galactically. There are galactic folks witnessing this conversation, participating, and literally an amphitheater of untold amounts of consciousnesses looking at what we just did. It's huge. It's huge. So be gentle with yourself when your physical human body, animal, your avatar, needs to go sleep for 13 hours. Yay, good. Because we can do it now. Back, if we're working, we can't do it. Because you're still going into the office, right?
Yeah, I'm still working in the office.
So you had to sleep. You had to lay down and reset at a whole new level. The other thing that Spirit wanted me to say is, because you haven't let them do it until that moment, because of the light language and because you trust me, there was a, may I speak?
Please. Yes.
There was a transplant going on. My truth, this is according to Suzan again, I was born in 55. If I didn't upgrade and I didn't have transplants all along the way, my 55 model, I would be in so much pain that there would be no way that my 55 old computer, like we're in a computer right here, my computer could, this avatar 55 model could not handle what I'm doing right now. It doesn't have the DNA. It's not possible for my 64-year-old model, if I made no changes, to handle what I'm doing today. I would probably still be bending over tables adjusting. That I could do. So I had, what Spirit showed me is we mutate as much as our DNA and the physicality can handle. That's why my children were born in 77 and 79. The next generation is always more evolved than the generation before, but the times have changed. I don't have time to lay my body down and start new and have authority of a 64-year-old. So I had to mutate as far as this unit could go. Then when I couldn't go any further, it wasn't created in the destiny of making this body, or maybe it's not possible. I had to start having etheric transplants. So the Spirit had to come in, and the first transplant I got was a Buddha heart. So my old etheric heart was removed and a new one come in. Now it'll make you feel like you're having a heart attack. And because I was like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm dealing with ETs, because that'll make you scared for those that have been messed from malevolent ones. So we've got psychic surgery transplant of a new heart and a new heart chakra. Physical heart and heart chakra are being upgraded, not upgraded. I'm getting like take an engine out, put an engine in, kind of thing, like the MDs try to do, but it was done energetically.
Right.
Sorry about that. I don't know why my phone all of a sudden is making that sound. It's Spirit messing with me. If I tried to hate or be afraid or judgmental with this new equipment, oh my God, talk about pain. And I would make the new transplant bleed, and they had to do another one over again. I don't know how many times they had to put that first heart in again. But once it took, my capacity to love changed and hold unconditional love. When I was, I don't know how long ago, maybe 20 years ago, and before I had my shamanic training, I was doing such intense work, and it was beyond my nervous system and my chakra system's ability to function. It was beyond my field. So I would work all night and fry myself. I would fry. The neurological symptoms would have been terrible. It could have looked like all sorts of nasty stuff. And they would transplant and give me a whole new nervous system just before I woke up. Then I would go to work and fry my nervous system out again for the morning because of the level of the work I was doing. I would have to, there was no choice. I had to sleep. It didn't matter if it was 10 minutes. It didn't matter if it was 30 minutes. Whatever time I had, I slept. I don't even know how I ate. And in that sleeping, they gave me a whole new nervous system again because I'd fried it because of the energy, because my nervous system was too fine to handle what I was pulling over it. And I shorted and fried myself. And they needed to put a new one in before I could do the afternoon. Otherwise, no one would come. And by the time I got done with work, they had to put a new one in when I fell asleep to do my night work. I got 3 whole etheric nervous systems 3 times a day. And it went on for like a year. That's hard to sustain. That is huge on Spirit's work. And I don't know if I knew it or not. And then I took DI, Divine Intervention, which is Mayan psychic surgery from my sister Shirley Ressler. And it was an 8-month program. In that time, they could pin me down enough, knock me off using chiropractic as my center. Now I had a shamanic, an old paradigm that was thousands of years old with a lineage. You know, chiropractic started in 1880. Now I had a new lineage. I was using this as my focus and my source. So now I got this old paradigm can pin me down enough that they put in a nervous system that was uber. And all of a sudden, I had energy. I could do my thing. I could stay awake. It only the last 2 years did I start falling asleep. So that's been upgraded again. I've had a whole an uber since I retired. Probably every system of my body has been upgraded. When I look, I haven't looked in a while. Everything is upgraded. I have new. It's like I've been born again a couple times. This is what born again means. So thank goodness to shamanic. Then I can step back in a bigger grid of power to be able to hold and ground God. And then my chiropractic adjustments went, miracle, magic. I mean, I was masterful before. Now it's divine. And so much so, people would say, yeah, I'm sorry, I went to the regular chiropractor today. Because back in the day when I was in Phoenix, they go, I went to the regular doctor, and I went, well, what am I? The irregular or the unreal doctor? I mean, what am I? And then they started saying, I went to the regular chiropractor, and I go, am I the irregular or the unreal? Or
the divine chiropractor.
It was Uber. It was, now chiropractic was just an excuse. And it was, I had to stop bending over tables because that's one person at a time. Now I'm doing adjustments at a whole new level. Now I'm doing quantum field adjustment, humanity adjustment, global adjustment, to
so
the new. Spirit just flashed this. Just like that's why I'm going. Dang, this is an interesting thing to be talking about being transplanted. I didn't have a time because when we die, lay down, get born again. we have a whole new operating system, hardware and operating system. And that's what's happening for humankind. That's why we have to be still, because they're, oh my God, we're getting a galactic psychic surgery on the whole humankind matrix. What is it? Heart. And right after that, oh, I want to cry.
So beautiful.
Oh my God. That's what's happening. That's why everybody has to be still, because you can't do psychic surgery if you're running around. You got to be laying down. Oh my God.
That's so
Sophia.
beautiful. That's so beautiful.
It's the goddess Sophia. Oh my God.
This is so beautiful.
Oh my God.
Susan.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. No, this is so incredibly beautiful. And
that's what's happening. The whole, because there's as above, so below, as within, so without, because I have a matrix, a Suzan Rossi matrix, and I've upgraded my own matrix to be able to do what I'm doing. I've had upgrades and then I've had transplants. So I don't have to be born again, because I really don't have time to do it. We don't have time right now.
we don't.
So I've been born again over and over and over again. And Spirit was preparing me to hold space so that we can ground the etheric transplant that's happening on mass consciousness, on the matrix that is the human huge avatar of all human creation, whether in body or out body. There is a huge upgrade and transplant, and it's happening on the whole humankind is getting the Buddha heart. I don't know how many times. If we can hold it, then they don't, like bleeding and stuff, it can be. So what else? They've got the nervous systems lined up and the whole chakra system lined up at a galactic level. That's why you fell asleep. That's why I slept. That's why our timing, because we needed the 11, but then we went to the 1. They're doing it right now. There's a huge psychic surgery at a galactic level happening on the whole avatar that is humanity. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's so incredible.
God.
It's about time. It really is. It's time. It is time.
Yeah, it's time. It couldn't have been done any sooner.
Right.
It could, and I have whole stories about that. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's why so many people are going to wake up.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they're going to be
When
feeling.
I say God, I mean the prime creator.
Right.
My prime creator. And let me change the God to a prime creator and the infinite, incorruptible, infinite source. Spirit is reminding me that I need to say this piece. Probably it wasn't ready yet. I have stairs that go from the main floor. That's what I was talking about, where I'm living. And I go down these narrow stairs to my basement. And when I first moved here, because I'm now 64 and I'm 60 pounds heavier than I want to be, and I'm older than I want to be, and I'm not doing anything but being still. Spirit made me be still for 2 years and 2 months. What is that? 26 months, which goes to an 8. They made me be still, and I'm going, and I go, do I need to exit? I go, shh, and they made me be still. I've laid on the couch, sat in a chair, had my feet up, and laid in bed for 2 years. Well, that makes the physical avatar going, and you get weak and stuff. So anyway, they were preparing my body to be the midwife for what's happening globally now. That's why now I can start exercising. Thank God. But I would go down those stairs, and I made sure I hung on, because I don't want to fall down my stairs.
Right.
Okay, so there's a thought of me falling downstairs. I don't know if someone has before or not. And when we deal with shamanic stuff in Spanish dimensions, they use the word stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go up and down the dimensions, I'm going up and down stairs. So symbolically, as above, so below, as within, so without, those stairs are significant. So I really have to hold, because if it phases, if my human perception senses the walls go woo, woo, like a matrix, then or the floor falls out, I can fall through the stairs or fall down the stairs because I got disoriented. So I'm like, all right, stairs, hold your physical matrix and body, stay in body while I'm lugging luggage or suitcases or boxes or groceries or my purse or my backpack with my computer, going up and down stairs. The challenge is that then my ego would go, shit, I'm going to fall down. And then I go, cancel that. And I do it almost every time I go to the top of those stairs. I'm canceling me falling down them. So you were asking me, how do we stay in the center? How do we deal? It takes freaking practice. I've lived here for 5 years. I had to stop at that top of that stairs and cancel any negatives so I can walk down the stairs. So we had to do it over and over and over again. We must discipline the human to be disciplined in what we think, to match what we say and what we do.